Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review on the Book of Three by Lord Alexander. So I have recently read the Book of Three by Lord Alexander and I loved this book. I'll go ahead and get that out of the way. I loved this book. It got me out of my book slump or my reading slump or whatever you call it, but I adored this book. It's a children's book. It's made for 8 to 12 ages, but you can obviously enjoy it if you're a little bit older than that. I am 24. Alrighty, so it follows Taran, who's the assistant pig keeper of Henwen, and Henwen is a oracle pig. So she shows visions of the future and prophecies. So Henwen ends up escaping and Taran comes in contact with the villain of the book, which is the Horned King. And the Horned King and a bunch of other people are after Henwen because she has some information that they need. Basically, Taran gets whisked off into this adventure. He gets to meet a princess named Elongwe, and then Flutoflam, who's like a bard, and he has this little harp who every time he lies, like one of the strings like pops off, so you can kind of know when he's lying. And kind of through the progression of the book, he kind of gets not more truthful because he does like to tell a grand tale, but like at the end of the book he said something and he was like the string kind of quivered, and then he was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. So he was hilarious in this book. I have it actually annotated a little bit. I did a little annotating on some note, whatever it's called. But in the front of the book, it has this map, and it has actually what I really enjoyed is it had like the path that they took to get to where they needed to go. So it kind of, whenever I didn't know how far they were to the end, etc., I could just pull this up and see where they were, and I thought that was really cool. And it also has names on it, so you get to know like where everyone is, like when Taran meets them, and kind of where they're from. So that definitely helped a lot. Pripton, the land of Pripton has a lot of similar names. Like there's Caer Dalbrin and Caer Dathul. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but I got those two confused a lot, so I had to pull this open and see, okay, is he talking about his home? Is he talking about the castle? Like, where are we? There's a lot of difficult names, so in the back of the book, actually, he has this little handy thing, and it's the pronunciation guide, which was super helpful. It's still like really confusing. The most difficult name for me to pronounce would probably be Eilonwy. It's Eilonwy. There's a lot of WY names in here, so he was a big fan of WY names. There's Flutoflam, which is Flewddur, and then FFLAM. So it's just Fluter. They call him like Fluter, I don't know, but the names are very, very creative, which I really enjoyed. I think it's a great thing when you have some creative names. I don't know how he came up with those names. I would actually love to kind of research that and find that out. But anyway, something I noticed about this book is I went into this thinking it's like a children's book, like children. This is more like a Harry Potter book, and it reminded me so much of Lord of the Rings. So if you have if you're a big fan of Lord of the Rings, or if you just have like a little kid who wants to get into fantasy, I think this is amazing. It reminded me so much of Lord of the Rings. There's a character in here named Gurgi. And Gurgi reminded me a lot of, what's his name? Why am I forgetting this? Smeagol. So Gertrude reminded me a lot of Smeagol, but like the kind version. So when I was picturing his voice in the book, I was picturing Smeagol and then Gertrude from the movie, because Disney did actually do an adaptation of this book, and they named it The Black Cauldron, which is actually the second book in this series. So I'm excited to read that. But they did this whole adaptation, and the voice character for Gertrude, I didn't like, just because it was so difficult to understand him. And I mean, it's a kind of a cute voice, but I think whenever I would do it in my head, it was a mix between the two, but more so a Lord of the Rings character voice. But I really enjoyed it nonetheless. It's incredibly dark for a kid's book. So, like, Taran gets, like, whacked on the head and, like, knocked out by a whip at one point. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, that's really aggressive for, like, a kid's thing. And he gets, like, locked in a dungeon. He doesn't get hurt or anything, but, like, definitely just because he's a kid does not mean if he goes up against the Horn King has no issue with decapitating him. And even if he's a kid. So it's definitely, like, violence, but at the same time, I think it's so good. So Taran he matures a lot in this book, and I really liked that. I really liked the growth. There was a point in the book where he was having a conversation with someone, and he was like, oh, I just wish I could, like, stay here and, like, send them off on this quest, because it's difficult, it's hard. Okay, so my camera just died, so I had to go and charge it, but I think I was talking about when Taran was talking to somebody, and they were talking about, like, how, like, Taran was like, oh, I wish I could just get rid of this, like, I just wish I could send them off and not have to deal with it, stay here, stay safe, and not have to deal with all of this evil or this quest. And the guy's like, yeah, I mean, you chose to take up this quest, why should you not be able to choose to give it up? And then Taran was like, you know what, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna follow it through. I'm gonna be responsible. And I thought that was really awesome. I also really liked, I mean, I'm not like liked, but I always like to see religion, not religion, but how people take some like myths of religion and kind of put it into books. And there's a reference to Noah's Ark in this, and I thought they did it so fun. And I thought they did it in such a fun way. So I like to see different ways creators include kind of like legends and myths from religions or anything into the books with a new twist. So that is what this book did, and I loved it. Something else I loved about this book was Eowyn's analogies. So almost every time she spoke, even if it was in like a paragraph, say she had like two sentences very close together, every time she spoke, she always had like an analogy, and I just found that was something quirky and something fun that she did. I also just really loved how many analogies she could just pull out of her head at will, and I thought that was a really fun little trait. Also, Henwen in this book, the little pig, is so adorable. It reminds me of a dog. She reminds me of a dog and kind of makes me want to have a pig, but I know pigs are not as cute and cuddly as books and movies make it seem, so I will not be getting a pig. I kind of want a rabbit, but Alice would eat the rabbit, so I don't think we're going to get a rabbit. But Henwen, nonetheless, is absolutely adorable. I don't understand Henwen, though. I don't know if it was like a person. I don't know if she's like immortal. I don't really understand Henwen. It's a pig, it's an oracle pig, but it seems to me that she's been around a really long time. And I don't know if she was a human or just this magical pig that they found. I would like to know a little bit more about Henwen, which I'm sure that we discover more about her in later books. But as of right now, I don't know much about her. all in all, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5 stars. I could go on and on and on about this book, but I don't want to spoil anything, and I typically do that in reviews, so I 100% recommend this book. I think anybody who likes a good fantasy book should pick this one up. And if you liked this video, make sure to like this video, leave me a comment down below, and share it with a friend, because that is the only way that this channel will grow. So go ahead and stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!